Hey everyone, welcome back to MLWorks. In this video, we'll be discussing about FastAPI and we'll understand why the FastAPI is faster than other web frameworks in Python, and also we'll build our first API endpoint with FastAPI. So FastAPI is a modern high-performance web framework for building APIs, and it requires Python 3.7 and above. There are three key main benefits of using FastAPI. First is the speed and the ease of coding, and there is robustness. So when it comes to speed, FastAPI makes use of asynchronous programming to handle multiple requests concurrently, so which makes it faster than other web frameworks. And it is robust because it can handle unexpected inputs and also can handle high traffic as well, and also has better error handling. And when it comes to ease of coding, we'll be building our API endpoint and we'll notice how easy it is to build API endpoints in FastAPI. So when it comes to the speed aspect, there are two key components of FastAPI, which is ASGI and Pydantic. ASGI stands for Asynchronous Server Gateway Interface, where FastAPI is built on top of Starlet, which is an ASGI framework. Now, unlike other frameworks like Flask or Django, which uses older protocol like WSGI and makes it a synchronous based programming. And with ASGI, it allows asynchronous programming, making sure FastAPI can use async and await keywords while making or handling request and response. So it becomes very important when it comes to IO bound tasks. For instance, if you are waiting for a database query or an external API call, right? So it becomes very important in such scenarios. So instead of waiting for one thread which is blocked for executing one specific program, here the server will switch to other requests and handle them, and then concurrently perform those operations, which leads to higher performance and higher concurrency. So now let's talk about Pydantic. FastAPI uses Pydantic for data validation and serialization, and Pydantic uses those Python type hints to automatically validate the structure and the type of data that is coming in and out of the request response. So this validation is done extremely efficiently, making sure the developer error is less, and it automatically sends helpful error messages to the client if something goes wrong. So with our understanding of FastAPI and why it is fast, now let's jump on to how to implement FastAPI or set up FastAPI locally and then build our first API endpoint. So first let's install the packages that are required. So I'll go to the terminal first and let me increase the screen size, pip install FastAPI. Then I'll be using uvcon server which is an async again server. So let me install those two. So it's already installed, so we don't have to do anything. Now what I'll do is I'll switch to my Visual Studio Code and I'll import FastAPI, not from FastAPI, import FastAPI, and then I'll write my first instance of the app, which is, as mentioned here, app is equal to FastAPI. Now we want to make sure we want to create an endpoint. This will be the root directory of your application. So what I would say is, as mentioned here, app.get, and I'll just pass in the root directory, and this is read root. So this is my first root that I'm creating for this specific app. This is the app decorator, and where I pass the root directory. So when I pass this decorator, I say that for this specific path, it has to read this specific function, and this is nothing but your JSON or a Python dictionary. So this is done. Okay, we have our first endpoint created. Let me run this. Now what I'll do is I'll go here and I'll do, so this is inside a Python notebook. What I'll do is I'll just copy this and I'll make one file here, which is main.py. and I'll paste this here and I'll save it. Now UVCon is present and I want to call that specific app. So first I pass the file name and :app, and then I do reload, because if I change anything here or in the code inside this main.py file, then it has to reload automatically. The server should get restarted. So let me run this. Let me go to this specific URL, copy link and open it in incognito, and so you are able to see our hello world is getting printed. Now one more thing, right? One of the benefit of FastAPI is that it creates your API documentation automatically once you build the API. So what I'll do is, here I'll just type in /docs and we'll see the Swagger UI for our APIs. So in this case, we have one API which was the root directory, and the function that was given to it was read root, and it takes in, it doesn't take any parameter because it is a GET request, so it doesn't take any parameter. So this is how it will be, the API documentation will look like. Now what we have done is we have created a simple API endpoint. We were able to run that server, UVCon server, and we were able to see the browser, and we were able to see the documentation as well, the interactive API documentation. This is the basic introduction to FastAPI. We'll be talking about Pydantic in the later video, where we'll be discussing about request model and response model. So with that, I'll conclude this video. Thank you for watching.